Good morning. So, we have an update to that story that I did on the Alabama man who was being ordered to apologize to the Ozark, Alabama police officer for cursing at him. All charges have been dropped against Mr. Burke, who is the driver that was being charged and being forced to apologize to the officer. Now, for those of you who do not remember the story or do not know it, have never heard of it, Mr. Burke, who is an Alabama man, he was on his way to taking his children to school in December. And this officer stopped him for speeding. Um, and the officer used his cruise control to determine that Mr. Burke was going um, like maybe 3 miles over the speed limit. Mr. Burke told him that he thought that that was kind of like um, not a good way to figure out whether or not he had been going too fast or not going the speed limit at all. But irregardless, he went ahead and, asked for the ticket. He said, okay, well, just let me have the ticket. He didn't even put up a fight, he didn't even put up a argument. So the officer gave him the ticket. After giving Mr. Burke the ticket, the officer decides to stand in front of Mr. Burke's way so that he could not pull off and leave. And Mr. Burke had asked him a couple of times if he could move out the way. The officer refused. On the last time of asking the officer if he could move out the way, the officer refused again, but said, "You can go around." So Mr. Burke said to him, "Get your ASS out of the way." Now, it was said that, it was something that was said like under his breath or kind of like to himself or whatever, or even if he had yelled it at him, he really had the right to speak on the issue because he had already asked the officer nicely to move out the way. Now, how did he end up having to pay this, being ordered to apologize? So he goes to court and he's thinking all he has to do is just pay his ticket and the fees and everything that comes along with it. And the judge tells him that he has to apologize for cursing at the officer. So apparently, the officer wrote in his report that he was being cursed at by Mr. Burke, but seems like he probably failed to put in there that he stood in Mr. Burke's way purposefully to get that reaction out of him. And Mr. Burke felt that his rights were being violated, his First Amendment rights and his Eighth Amendment rights, and he was correct. Mr. Burke had gotten himself an attorney, which he rightfully should have done, and this story became national news. So that is how we got here to where, um, we all know about this story. And, the judge was trying to make him apologize or spend 30 days in jail. Well, as it is for the update, all charges have been dropped against Mr. Burke. The judge has dismissed the case, and Mr. Burke does not have to write a letter of apology to this to this cop. And he can go on about um, living his life and doing the things that he has been doing, what I'm saying. And I'm really happy that this turned out the way that it did for Mr. Burke. And everybody in the nation was really watching this, because so much of everything that has been going on in this US is looking like it's trying to go backwards in time. So a lot of people were really paying attention to this case and was trying to find out what's going on, what's happening. And you know, you do have some people out there who are police officers, judges, regular, everyday people, um, who are out there trying to make things go back to the way that it used to be, like in the 1800s, or in the, 60s and 50s and 40s and things like that. Um, but in this particular case, you know, justice was, justice has prevailed. And, I'm really happy that Mr. Burke, is able to be free. I'm really happy that he was ready and willing to fight for his freedom and to make a point that his First Amendment rights, no one can take them. No one can take our First Amendment rights in this U.S. No one can take your Eighth Amendment rights in the U.S. You know, this is supposed to be the land of the free. And we are due to have those rights as anybody else. So I'm really happy for this case. That is my time on this particular story, and I will be back again. Please like and subscribe.